Disneyland. Today I saw well, hello there, Facebook and YouTube Live. This is a different setup for us. We're in the same window frame at the same time. Hopefully you can hear me. Kind of our usual thing here is that we are super unprepared and not ready and just go, and you catch us in the midst of the craziness. But we're here, and it is maybe 4 minutes
I
late.
think it's working.
But we're here. Anyways, got Jamie and Nolan here for episode number 9 of the Pop Live show. And usually we're in separate window screens, but we didn't have time to set up our second camera. So this actually works good for me because this means Jamie has to be on camera the whole time, although she's hiding from us right now. Wanted to say thank you for joining us. I'll give people some time to log on and such. I know we had a very short countdown. Usually we give a 5-minute warning, but as you know, we were running behind. But if you're joining us for the first time, because I'm actually testing something out. We usually just stream this only in our Pop Creative Media channels, but today I also included my personal page just to see if there's any difference in engagement and who gets to be notified that we're going live. So this isn't something that's going to happen all the time. It's just going to be for today as an experiment. So whether you're joining us on the Pop Creative channels or my personal channel, thanks for joining us. And if you've never seen a Pop Live show, basically Jamie and I come on here and we pick a topic in relation to virtual events, videos, social media, any kind of marketing platform that we've had experience or that we're working on, and we answer questions and give our feedback on some of the topics. So today's topic is probably the most stop making that face.
Very uncomfortable.
My gosh. If anybody's never seen this show before, they're gonna see this and just be like, why does she look like someone just farted in her face?
I don't like it at all.
Just get used to it. Just relax and be normal. You're not doing or saying anything. Well, you are doing something that is embarrassing right now. But if you get yourself together, you won't be.
Okay.
But the most common question we usually get when we meet with any client, potential client, whatever, it always, especially when it comes to video, this is the most common question is, so how much does a video cost? Like, just like, and they'll say, this is what they'll all say, just like a 30-second to a 1-minute video. How much does it cost? And it's always really hard to give them the real answer, which is, well, that depends. And of course, I don't say it just like that. I make it a lot nicer and such. But honestly, that's the correct answer. And the best way that I can explain it is if someone were to go up to you and say, hey, how much does a 4-door car cost? It's like, well, that depends. Like, what kind of car is it? What model and make is it? What kind of engine's in it? Is it automatic? Is it manual? Like, there's so many different factors that go into how much a 4-door car costs that you can't just ask that and get a simple basic answer. So same thing with video. The scope of work, what goes into your video project, how we make it will determine the cost. So I thought today what I'd do is explain just, we'd go over some of the things that do affect costs, which will then hopefully give you a better idea of what to expect. Because what a lot of people do is that they just go off of what the end product is. And they say, it's a 30-second commercial. It's a 1-minute video. And they think that's what determines the cost of it, the length of video. And that's not the case at all. And And I'll give you an example too. Like when I first started acting and I was in TV commercials, the first TV commercial I ever did was for Zippies, and I played this college age student who is going into his dorm room friends or his dorm roommate or neighbor. I don't know. I was supposed to be in a dorm room, and I go in and I ask to borrow different things from her, and then at the end she's cooking a bowl of Zippy's chili, and I ask if I could have some, and she says no. So it's a real basic concept. It's just one location. It's in her dorm room, and it's just a few lines. It's 30 seconds, and the production lasted over 8 hours. And I was just like, what the heck? Why are we here for so long? Because I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, like, oh, I'm going to go shoot this commercial. They want us there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'll see you at lunch. Like, I didn't know. And then as the sun started to set, I'm like, okay, I think we're wrapping up now. It's like, holy smokes, you don't realize just what goes into making a video, a commercial. And so even though it's 30 seconds, it took different setups, different angles, all kinds of different things went into production. So when people ask you, because I know that you used to get this question a lot, how much does a 30-second commercial cost? Like, what was your first reaction, or what do you feel like when you hear that?
It just depends.
Yeah. See, exactly. That's exactly what the case is. So, um, we'll talk about what kind of things go into a budget in making a video. So it's not necessarily the length of video that's the problem, although that could factor into it, because the longer the video, sometimes you need longer editing times or whatnot. So some of the basic things to think about as to what could increase the cost of production is how many shoot days you need to do. So, sometimes there needs to be multiple locations that you're shooting at, multiple people that you're interviewing, different scenes. And depending on the complexity of the interview or the complexity of the scenes, like that could make it where you need several days, several hours. That depends on how long and how many shoots you need to make. And people think like, oh, it'll be just like we're going to go to 3 different places and shoot there. Well, that also, not only does it matter like how long you need to shoot at each place, but how long you need to set up for each location. And then the travel time too, because if you're shooting out in Hawaii Kai, and then the next one is in Salt Lake, and then the next one is Waianae, like that's a couple hours of travel alone right there. So those kind of things can really affect the budget. Also, what kind of interviews we're doing. So if we're just talking about one simple topic, we can easily, ask the people we're interviewing about that subject, that one issue. But if it's, say, an overview video where we're talking about the mission of your nonprofit organization, describing the different programs that are in the organization, the history of, like, there's so many different topics that will be covered in there that a quick 5-minute interview is really not realistic. Usually, our interviews for something complex like that are about, we like to allot about an hour, which people are like, an hour for an interview? What are we going to talk about for an hour? Trust me, we always fill that time pretty easily. Like, what kind of things would you say you've experienced? Like, because before I got into the production side, I also would have been that type. Because when I was an AE selling,
Account executive.
an account executive, when I was selling to my clients, commercial time and stuff like that. Anytime I would go to a producer like Jamie, I'd be like, hey, so my client's asking how long we would need to shoot this. And she would give me a number, and I'd react the same way that most of you would, which is, what? Why so long? Even to this day, sometimes I'll undershoot the amount of time required because I still have that kind of mentality. So when we say that we're going to shoot an interview for an overview video where we're going to talk about missions, different programs, the history of the program, and such like that. And we say, oh, we're going to need an hour to set aside for the interview. Why would we expect? Why would we need an hour to do that? What goes into an interview shoot that would make it that long?
You mean the setup and stuff?
Yeah,
Or what?
because we always say like when people are asking
For
us,
them to set aside an hour.
yes,
But we'll
correct.
take longer
Okay,
because we have to get there earlier to set up.
but as far as the interview itself for the person who's being interviewed, we're telling them
Oh.
to expect the interview to take about an hour, right?
Because we don't want them to plan for less and then have to leave.
Right.
But a lot of times people will be uncomfortable in the beginning and then their
Mm-hmm.
answers will not be great. So you want to start out with questions that aren't going to be really substantial and important. And then, so you need time for them to get comfortable. And some people will have questions before you even start. And then some people are really long winded. So you don't want to cut them off because
Yeah.
sometimes, like at the very end, is when the answer gets super awesome. So it just, you just don't want to, you don't want to set their expectation to be short when you really want a good result.
Yeah, and I think people have the misconception of when you see, like say a testimonial video, like ones that we've made.
But the way we do it is really different. Other production companies do it.
So that's a good point. How explain because there may be people who are watching that have had other production companies do interview style video shoots, and there maybe theirs was like a lot faster and stuff. What would the difference be between? How could you explain what the difference between our style and process is versus, somebody who does them real quick?
Because we're usually getting it. Well, the testimonials that I've done in the past at my old job and then like internships in college and stuff. That's usually you're just getting real short sound bites for a spot for like 30 seconds. So
Mm-hmm.
then you just need like 10 good seconds at the most. Whereas the things that we're doing where it's more long form content for website, you need a lot of good content so that you keep people's attention for longer. Because when it's just 10 seconds, it can be like that's pretty good 10 seconds. But if the person's going to be on for a minute, it's got to be a good minute. Otherwise, people are going to be gone.
Yeah. And I think too, another difference that I can imagine between our style is like we spend a lot of time focusing on the interview, like getting really deep into answers, asking follow-up questions. Because if I were to ask an initial question, like, "Hey, tell us about your organization's mission," and they give their answer, and it's a very generic, like overview answer. Some people would say, "Okay, they answered. On to the next question." Whereas we find that some of the really great, nuggets of interesting and engaging information happens when you ask them to expand on it. So instead of jumping off of that and moving on to the next question, we'll say like we'll pick up on some of the things mentioned in there and have them expand on it. So it could be something like you said that you really care about how people feel. Like what does that mean? Like what do you want them to feel and how does that show? Things like that. And then they start opening up and things that I think a lot of people, especially those who are not used to being interviewed, they feel like they want to just get the answer and move on, and because they want to get off camera, they're not comfortable. But when you can prod and I guess provoke more thought and into their answers, or give them more opportunities or ways to spark the ideas for more answers, then that's when you can get some cool stories, personal opinions, and whatnot. Um,
This is going really long.
oh, it is?
I thought we were talking about cost.
Oh, well, I mean, it relates to
It
cost.
relates to cost, but it's just a really long tangent.
Sorry. And you know what's sad is that she told me last week that I tend to do this and I need to work on keeping it short. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's just jump right in. And so that's what I thought I was doing by just jumping right into the topic. And then I just found this little groove and I went, all right, let's pop that bubble and let's come back to earth. Okay. And so what else goes into things that affect cost? So one thing that I can think of is the complexity of the edit. So you may think that, hey, we've got three people that we're interviewing. We only need like, a few seconds from each of them. That shouldn't be too hard. But when the more people that you have in it, the more you have to try to, what Jamie's doing is she's weaving these three different viewpoints and these three different stories into one single thought or story. And that takes time. It's like she's sewing together the story.
I think what a lot of people like when we get like a email where somebody's saying what they're thinking about putting in the video, they'll be like, well, I imagine this person talking for 1 minute, and then this person talks for 1 minute about this, and then this person says 1 minute about this. And if you picture that as a video and it's just one guy on camera for 1 minute, 1 minute with this person, it's really like boring, and it's not a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it should just be three separate videos if that's all you want to do. So when you're having three people in one video, you want to have it all fit together so that they're building off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes the edit a lot harder and more time consuming.
Yeah. And the other thing too that will play into it as well is like this the style of the video. Like that will require more like editing and graphics and motions, uh, the complexity of the sound as well too. Like sometimes you have to shoot in places that are really noisy, and we have to do a lot of post production and cutting out sounds from the elements outside and making it come out clear and such. Um, Even the locations that we're shooting at, sometimes there are so many things we have to mess around with, as far as some locations require that we need more lights and stuff, so we got to bring a ton more equipment, which means more setup time and things of that nature. So
Additional crew.
oh, that's another great one too. So sometimes, like for the most part, it's me and Jamie. But if your shoot is more complex, like yeah, you're gonna need a dedicated sound guy, or need a dedicated shooter, or additional shooter if you need more camera people. If you want a drone shot, you need a drone shooter, and they're adding more crew necessary for the complexity of the shoot will also raise costs, because you gotta pay the extra crew and stuff. I always forget about that one because
We don't use crew.
yeah, normally we don't, and normally it's because nonprofits, they have such a small budget, so we've worked really hard at trying to really compact these projects so that we can stay within a small budget. And also too, like a lot of the times the shoots, the window of time is so small, because for a lot of nonprofits, like they're busy, they're doing work and stuff. It's not like we can shut down the place and all that stuff. So we really only can work with what little opportunities we have. So, but sometimes people have like big crews, and that can rack up costs and stuff.
I'm going to tell you something that nobody else wants to hear. My eyeball's super itchy. I'm afraid if I rub it, the squishy sound is going to catch on the mic.
I'm just glad that you're not being critical about me going on a tangent and this is boring and this is long. So I'll let you scratch your eye and I'll pull this thing away. And I want to say hi to Brian, who is watching. And in fact, after this, I'm going to be meeting with Brian. So maybe I might be answering some of the questions he had for the meeting. And that is, now we've got the laughing emojis. So if people are wondering what she's talking about, the squishy sound. So Jamie has this really gross eyeball that when she scratches her eyes, it's not like people scratch their eye, they go like this. She goes and digs her finger in her eye socket. And it sounds like, if you ever got like slime in those little vending machines at the supermarket, and you put in 2 quarters and it comes in this little pop thing, and you just stick your finger in it, it goes.
Yeah, that's totally what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like, but she's going.
It's so satisfying. It feels so good.
And it's so loud, and I go, oh, gross. Like, what's going on? Is your eyeball going to pop out? She's like, did you hear that? You can hear that? So now she has this like complex about doing it. And now that we have a live mic, even more so, right?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, although that was not on topic, I thought it was necessary to explain. But we got a few people online here, so thank you so much for joining us. If any of you have any questions or want us to expand on things, or I think we talk about things that come up in our head as producers, but for consumers, for the clients, sometimes you guys have really great, issues or questions that we don't think about until you bring it up in the meeting. So if any of you have other questions in relations to finding out like how much it costs. I guess another thought is, I guess the reason why people ask that question, how much does it cost, is because you need to know what you're expecting for your budget. A lot of nonprofits that we work with have never done video in the past, or have, but it was a long time ago, and then they worked with another company and it's a different type of video. So they just need to know, like, hey, what can we kind of plan for? And so, it sucks to hear the first reaction is, oh, it depends. Like that doesn't help you at all. So, is it okay if I give kind of our pricing?
I don't think you should do
I
that.
shouldn't do
You
that.
could just call us or look at the website. It's on the website, our ballpark.
Okay. So, I guess what I can say is when we do talk to clients, I'll give kind of the same explanation that I just did, but I'll also give a ballpark just because I know a lot of nonprofits want a starting point.
Yeah.
Because if I were to say, because I can't assume that your definition of expensive or cheap is the same as mine, and the same as other nonprofits. Every nonprofit has different expectations and budgets. So what I usually try to at least do is say, here's kind of the range of costs that we've seen typically for different types of videos that we've done for organizations. And in general, this is about the price range because it's a pretty wide range. I'll tell you right now, like when I give that range, it's a pretty big one, big range. I didn't forgot that I'm only in shared screen here, but I'll at least try to go into what I typically see most nonprofits feeling comfortable with, as far as similar types of video projects. So at least I give you or give clients an idea to work with, because then sometimes they'll go, oh, okay, that's fair, or oh, that's better than what I was expecting, or sometimes they're like, oh, okay, knowing that that's kind of the ballpark you're working with, I know for sure that this is not a project that we can really, realistically look at right now. So let's just shelve this idea for now, or let's think of another idea. So at least I can give you something to work with. So that's usually what happens. So some companies have like, I've seen they've had like, what is that, like a price list, like a menu sheet and stuff.
Usually like a wedding company.
Yeah, and that's because they have packages that are preset, and especially with weddings, it's like a lot of the times it's pretty basic. Like I want this type of video for my wedding, and it'll include the engagement shoot and da 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 da. And it makes it easy for the wedding couple because they go, "You guys figured it out. You guys are the experts. You know what is usual. Yeah, let's go with that." For nonprofits, every time we've done stuff, it's been like, hey, everybody's different, everybody's needs are different, so it's really hard to just make packages that will fit everyone and their specific needs. So we usually, almost always, we make a custom package or proposal based on the specific needs of the client. And what that does is it shaves off the unnecessary costs for things that you don't need. But then the main point is it gives you exactly what you need to accomplish your goal. Because why shove you into a package that's generic enough to fit your needs generically, but it doesn't actually specifically answer some of the goals that you have in mind? Let's just make something that's exactly what you need, right? You look like you're thinking about something.
I don't know what I thought you were gonna say something
Oh,
like some kind of range of something, but I don't think you ever did. Were you not gonna say
You
it?
told me not to give pricing,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm not
did,
gonna.
but I thought you were gonna say the range of what we normally see that nonprofits are looking for.
Oh, I wasn't planning on saying that, but
Oh, no, that's fine.
do you
I
have an idea?
think I think it'd be helpful for nonprofit, like for them to know what they should know when they go and ask for a quote.
Oh, okay.
Like how do they ask for a quote? Because a lot of times people are just like, how much is a 5 minute video?
Mm-hmm.
But then that's not gonna help.
I saw the finger go into the eye, and I was like, that's a great point. I think from your perspective, because you deal with a lot of the editing and stuff, what are things that you could say to help them know what to bring to the table to get that quote?
I think if they know if they're looking for a PSA, like a 30 or 60 to run as an ad, or if they want something for website or social or newsletter, like a longer, you don't need to know exactly how long, but just know that it's a longer thing. and and I guess what you've thought about putting into it. Like I want to have my CEO and this board member in it and talking about this.
And where you anticipate shooting it, like if you think will need to go to multiple locations
Yeah.
to shoot it.
It's good to know the purpose. Like if they're thinking about doing a video, there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So share that reason.
Yeah, what is the result that you want out of that you want the video to
Yeah.
create, right? I mean, we always talk about this in all of our lives, live streams, not in our life, but in our live streams, is that like the most important thing, first step usually is to identify your audience. So same thing with this, like who are you trying to reach? And then what do you want to inspire, or what kind of action do you want them to make based on the video that you create? Because once you figure that out, then that helps you figure out what kind of things could go into it to make that happen. I think a lot of people, and myself included in the past, we make that, oh my goodness, there's all these comments that I didn't know were there. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I feel like you guys might have been like, you guys are ignoring me. Sorry. I'll get to the comments in a second, but a lot of times we start off the thought process of creating a video idea with like ideas based on like what it would look like and sound like, and how it compares to something you saw on TV, without even thinking about who you're talking to or what you're trying to accomplish, right? If you figure out that part first, then you can start coming up with the ideas of like, oh, I saw this done really well on television before with this spot. Well, then you can say, well, will that work with the audience I'm trying to reach? Would they appreciate that? Would they react to that? And things like that. That can help narrow down a lot of your ideas.
I think sometimes, like at HanoCon, people, when it used to be in person, people would say, like, I know we're supposed to be doing video and I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Like, if there's not something that you want to accomplish with video, then you got other stuff to worry about.
Yeah. Video isn't necessarily the magic pill
Yeah.
that just solves all your problems, even though you don't know what the problem is. It's it's a really great tool. It's probably one of the most effective tools out there,
Yeah.
but it's not necessary all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, can let's look at some of these comments. Looks
I thought it was funny that I yawned while you were talking. It's because he's always talking.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
This is brutal.
Oh.
That hurts.
You want a minute?
I would want a retraction.
I can't lie. Sorry.
Noel
He
said,
said it's good info, though.
yeah, and Noel agrees. Like you can't set rates without knowing what they want, and And so that goes back to the point of when we have our meetings with clients. A lot of the times, like the first question is, so how much does a 30-second video cost? And it's like, well, let's talk first about what goes into it. So yeah, and I think hopefully what we talked about today may help you with at least setting your expectations a little more, and understanding what kind of things affect costs, and also could help you with preparing of bringing to the table what you envision or what you would like in your video, because a lot of time that's the biggest problem for our clients, is they just have this thought that they know, I know we need a video for our website because people don't know what we do, and I've seen it done on other people's websites and it's really effective. So we need to make a video too. And our board has been pushing for us to get a video done. So how much does that cost? And it's like, oh, but let's figure out, what you want in that. So hopefully some of the tips we gave you can help you envision what could go into that video, can help you with some ideas, and maybe it might not give you a full view, but it can help you formulate the questions that you would need help answering when you talk to a production company like us or others. Because
Don't feel like you have to have it all figured
yeah,
out before you ask for a quote from somebody. Like a lot of times they'll have questions that you wouldn't have thought of. So no sense waste your time trying to get it all like have your whole sheet listed out with everything you want,
yeah,
because it might be totally off.
yeah. Most of the times our meetings are basically like the first initial meeting is like brainstorming type of meeting,
Yeah.
because then we together collectively can come up with an idea now that we've figured out who the audience is, what the motive is, or what the action that you want, the result, what we have access to, some of the ideas you brought, some of the questions we brought, and all that. Then we have a clearer vision. And then that's when I would probably give like a range for just to help you give an idea of budget. I might give you a little more finite estimate, just to at least get your expectations there. But then I would put together probably an actual proposal and build out some of the things of what we expect or would imagine the scope of work to be like. And then you go back and forth and massage that out, and make it so that it's perfect for what you need, or ideal. I shouldn't say perfect, ideal for what you need. And then that's when you get the actual number and stuff. But hope that helps.
Well, at least having flashbacks.
I hope it's good. I can't imagine it's good though. sorry to sorry to trigger you, Noel. But yeah, just know that too, like, I've got experience from being on both sides, because as the representative for the client, like I felt there, and also I was a client before too, because I used to purchase advertising time as a business owner when I had a store and stuff. So like I knew, I shudder when I still have flashbacks of my first commercial that I commissioned someone to shoot for my store, and they had never shot a commercial before.
For Fighters Corner?
Yeah, our first, which was like, man, if we did that now, like in this day and age of social media, it would go viral, because it had like that viral effect when we aired it. Like so many people recognized.
The Mayhem one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was such a poorly produced spot, but everyone remembered it and everyone reacted to it. Super unintentional for it to come across so bad, but it was so bad it was good. But I remember asking a friend of mine who had very minimal experience producing like Olelo TV kind of show, right? So I knew he had equipment, but I did the whole same speak about like, hey, friend, I need a commercial, a 30-second commercial to make. Could you do that for me? And like, how much would that cost? And he's like, I don't know. I've never made a commercial before. And I was like, well, this is what I'm imagining it'll be. And I told him like how we'd shoot it, and I would write the script, and I kind of gave him my idea of the script. And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. I don't really know how we'll shoot it, but I got my camera and I got a microphone. I was like, oh, perfect. Let's just do it. How's $250 sound? And he's like,
Oh
whatever you want to pay me, because I feel bad. Like you might not even use it. I was like, great. And to know now how much commercial production costs and how effective and how great it turned out for us. Um, I'm thankful he's a friend, and I don't think he held it against me. But yeah, that was it. I still go like, oh, I'm such a like, if I knew me as a client now, I'd be like, oh man, get out of here with that, But well, I wouldn't say that. I'd feel I'd be nicer about it and understanding. But I'm just saying that I get it as far as like we don't feel like we're like all knowing and be like, how dare you offend us with your lack of knowledge and your inquiry. Like just know that she might react that way because that's how she reacted when I would come to her with those kind of things. And to this day too, sometimes I'll be like, we're just gonna shoot like this little thing.
Because you should know. This is your job.
So I'm just saying
it's not your job.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that feeling. So don't feel like I'm ever gonna come to it like with a holier than thou kind of attitude. I have sympathy and empathy for you. We'll get through it together. Gotta post it now. Post what? Oh, the commercial.
Oh.
I don't have it. I don't know if it even, maybe it exists out there. One day when we get all set up here, my dream is to have us have like the ability to pull up a screen share where kind of like the Joe Rogan podcast where he's just like, hey, you guys ever see that video about the alligator eating the turkey?
That.
Yeah. Right now?
Like a website?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it right now.
Because you got to program it, right?
Yeah, but so it's not like a dream. It's just like
no. I'm bringing it up as in I was trying to preface it so that you wouldn't give me the reaction that you just did, which is like I'm not gonna do it now. I'm saying in the future I would like to do this where we could pull up stuff and study things together. Like if we did talk about this commercial, I could pull it up and say, here, let me show you. But I don't mean to do it anytime soon because we got so many other things that are important to work on and do.
We're way too transparent with our marital issues.
You.
Oh my God.
I know how to just put on the, hey, everything's great. And you just like, what? This live aspect has not been good for my career.
Us sitting next to each other is a little too real.
It's a little too comfortable for you. Oh man, don't worry, Noel. One day I'll find it. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I don't know if I'll find it. If I ever find it one day, I will share it.
I bet they have it at Oceanic, like on an old reel, because I had to look at it.
She said I had to look at it like it was some kind of chore.
I had to make sure it was broadcast quality.
Okay, so story time real quick. I know we're gonna wrap it up, but the reason why it was so memorable and kind of viral, even though that wasn't a thing back then, was there's a point where Mayhem, who is a fighter, Jason Mayhem Miller, who is known to be really wacky, zany, crazy kind of antics and stuff. And so he was going through all this, talking about all the stuff that's here at Fighters Corner. And that was our slogan. We got choke stuff, which is a play on pigeon where people say choke, meaning a lot, but also we're an MMA fight store. So we have choke stuff, like to teach you how to choke things. So anyway, so he's going off this laundry list of stuff that we had there, clothes, DVDs, fighting equipment, training stuff. And then we had a G-string. It was like a tap-out G-string that was hanging from his ear.
Oh, it was the tap-out one?
Yeah, tap-out brand G-string.
I thought that was just a random prop.
No, we actually sold those, and we sold a lot of those, by the way. And so he we even have like, I think he said something like we even have like clothing or ladies stuff for the ladies too. And then he says like, oh, he has this like G-string on his ear and stuff. And it was like
he left it hanging on his ear.
He had it hanging on his ear and then he like pulled it off to bring even more attention to it. But the fact back in 2005 on broadcast TV that we're showing a male fighter with a G-string on his ear was like, unheard of and controversial. I think I
had to call Kendall in to see if it was okay.
Yeah. So Oceanic, to their credit, God bless their soul, was willing to air it. Another network that we bought airtime on did not air it. They said it
Really?
went against their ethics. And so we had to film a whole new commercial, which was way more like, classy. It had like
Wow.
fight highlights and stuff like that. And it's like really like cool, like if you want to train, you got to train with the best, all stuff like that. And I was like, now that's a commercial that did so poorly. We got zero mentions of that. Like people are like, I don't remember that commercial at all. And then I go, oh well, maybe you saw the other one with with Mayhem with the yes, with the panty on his ear. Oh, that was hilarious. Like a million times way more engagement and memorability with that one. So
They never said no about running
yeah.
something.
So thankfully, Oceanic had such low standards that because otherwise we never would have seen that commercial. The commercial would never have seen the light of day. But yeah, to answer that, that one cost $250. We I don't think have done anything for $250 to give you an idea for budgets. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Any other marital laundry you'd like to air for all of our viewers here?
Not right now.
Okay, great. Well, to all of you who joined us and hung out with us today, I think we're only monitoring one of the chats. So if there actually can you pull up the other channel's chat just to make
And
sure?
it's
I don't want
sleeping.
to ignore other people's questions because I think we
There's nothing even there.
okay, perfect. I think we also haven't been watching the YouTube chat. So, okay, yeah. Okay, good. Those are all the questions, comments that we got. So, if you have if you're watching this on replay and you had other questions or comments, still throw them in the comment section and we'll continue the conversation over there. But other than that, don't forget to sign up for our bi-monthly newsletter if you haven't already. I don't know, Brian might not be on the newsletter, right? So
I have a lot of white hair. I can see it when I turn my head because there's a delay. So I was looking
for
at.
the person who is like so critical about me like going off on
Oh, I'm
tangents
the
and
worst.
not staying on topic, we've talked about squishy eyeballs and white hairs. And I'm like giving important information about how people can connect with us. And I was about to encourage Brian to sign up for our newsletter. And she interrupts me with talking about how many white hairs she has.
I
So
think I'm turning red now.
good. I
Okay.
want you to bask in this. This is your karma for all that you did to me today.
Okay.
Anyways, if you,
Bye.
no, we gotta show them the web address. If you're interested in signing up for our pop media newsletter, just go to this website right
Oh
here
wait, I'm gonna. I almost clicked the wrong
below,
button.
and that's where you can sign up.
Okay.
So that will sign up for our bi-monthly newsletter, which we share tips similar to stuff we talk about here, but also keep you abreast with what's going on with us. We keep it real personal too, kind of like what you saw here. We're just painfully open and transparent. We kind of do the same. That's our style. We leave that closet door wide open, but it keeps us connected with our colleagues and friends. And so we encourage you to sign up if you haven't already. And if you liked what you saw here today, please, we encourage you to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. And know that we'll be back here again. We do this every Tuesday at 12:30 Hawaii Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. And so next week we'll be back here again with another episode and another topic that we'll cover. If there's a specific topic or question that you want us to discuss, please throw them in the comment section. We'd love to get your feedback. And other than that, thanks for hanging out with us. All right.
Yay! Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Oh wait.